if people would take the time to think about what their core values really are, they'll find that a lot of the discord they have in their life is when they're living out of alignment.
Yeah.
And we feel like, oh, but I have this job and I have to do this, and they're making me work all of these hours. And I was in corporate HR for a lot of years as well, so I can relate to that to that life. But I wonder, for especially for people in those situations, they feel almost stuck. Like how could they improve their lives with some of the practices that you're talking about?
Right. I recall an ancient proverbs from Lao Tzu, an ancient Chinese philosopher. He mentioned something like, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom.
Okay.
Mastering others is strength, and mastering yourself is true power. So I think getting to know ourselves means that we have to really dive into the depths of our soul in an honest and accepting way. So it is about learning from our past experience, letting them go through forgiving others and ourselves, accepting of our weaknesses, and then learning how to love it all. So I think with this is very important for us to relocate, and our core values, because those are the important elements to make us feel comfortable with our actions, with our feelings. So many people lack of sense of purpose and fulfillment in life.
Yeah.
So later, one of the exercise that we have is to talk about how to, source for your core values again, so that you can connect with yourself again.
When you work with clients, I know you're a wellness coach and a mindfulness coach, and you have a nice robust practice that you offer. Can you talk about some of the services that you have, and sort of what a client journey might look like with someone who works with you?
Oh yeah, for at this moment, I am giving a one-on-one coaching service to people. Like I mentioned just now earlier, I'm actually very committed to help people to discover their authentic self, to find their inner strength, and find their unique purposes. So I'll guide them to minimize their stress and to cultivate a self-loving mindset. I think that is very important.
Yeah.
So that and thereafter they can step into their inner power and move forward to embrace their abundance life. And I can relate deeply to my clients, because I too have faced many of the challenges that bring to coaching.
Sure.
Yeah. So I will help them to recognize their past obstacles, right? It's basically a journey that I've been through before. And not only that, is to challenge their limiting mindsets. Acknowledge and accepting their past, I think, is also very important, right? So appreciating the past, I think it is definitely something that we can learn from our past, that we can bring into our current moment and embrace from there. And so I would say that the whole process will be a self-awakening and self-regulating, and then it will be a self-healing. And I hope that every client, when they step out from my service, they can start to do their self-coaching for themselves. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, we
Love that.
yeah, as coaches, my goal is to set people up to not need me anymore. Right?
Yes, precisely. Yeah. I will meet them once a week for consecutive of 4 weeks. And then we will work on different topics every week to introduce the foundations of mindfulness, and how to use mindful breathing, and mindful journaling to help them to master their emotions, better connect to themselves, and to, I would say that to help them to stay more resilient, to rebound on different situations, especially after 1.5 years of a pandemic. We don't know when it's the end, when it's going to end, but life still need to move on. And that is my, it's kind of inner voice to tell myself that I help this community, that help them to rebound during this challenging period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And very soon I'm going to introduce it in English. It could be the same workshops or other workshops. So there will be more works introduced in the first quarter of next year, being like short courses, workshops, or inner circles.
Excellent. I look forward to learning more about those.
Oh, looking forward for you all to join.
Definitely.
Well, as the countries are slowly opening up for economic reasons, Vietnam included, Malaysia, Thailand, for best or worse, I know cases are rising steadily where we are, but where there's economic progress, there's also a lot of foreigners that are coming in. So I think as you're able to expand your services, they'll be looking for not only how to do well in their jobs and become familiar with international communities, but also international services. At least for places like Japan, Korea, Vietnam, Thailand, I've noticed that it's such an untapped market to appeal to foreigners wherever they're from for life coaching, resilience coaching, mindfulness, and mindset coaching. And that was a huge surprise to me because coming from the United States, it's kind of become a part of the culture slowly is yoga and mindfulness. Coming over here, it's not actually as big as I once thought. So I guess there needs to be a reintroduction to how these ancient practices can become into modern day, and to also be separated from the sacred, the religious type, to more of the everyday practice, and to be taken seriously because there are incredible benefits. And I don't think they're fully understood, even though, I mean, in the United States, there's research centers on mindfulness and meditation. There's a lot of lab work done that I guess in the East, it's not as studied from a scientific standpoint. At least that's my perception. It's more still on the traditional classic religious study side. So I think you're going in the right direction with doing both of these eventually.
And I would also imagine that, well, first of all, I think maybe there isn't, and again, this is just speculation, but maybe there isn't as much research because it's just an accepted part of society and culture that we know it works. We don't need to study it because we know it works. We have thousands of years of proof of how well it works. But something that is really interesting to me as our world becomes, I don't mean global, but we have international communities in all different countries. And I mean, I'm a foreigner here in Italy, and it's taken me some time to learn the culture. And there's a lot of stress that goes along with that, to understand why people do things. And I think bringing a little bit of harmony into those international communities, this kind of practice would be really beneficial for that, because it's a common language, if you will. It's something that we all seek. So I would think that would be a really interesting perspective for your practice.
Yes, definitely. I think no matter where we stay, I think for human beings, we all would like to reduce our pains and to gain more joys in our life. I think that is everybody's ultimate purpose or other directions in our life. And for mindfulness and others holistic well-being practices, I think we all aim to help people to move towards these directions.